Most liberals are still bitter that Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, but then lost to Donald Trump in the Electoral College in 2016. Either that, or young progressives on college campuses just don't know why we have the Electoral College to begin with. And believe you me, Democrats do not want you to know why the Electoral College exists. So today, I give you 3 things the Democrats won't tell you about the Electoral College. Number 1. The founding fathers of our nation, who created our system of government, originally intended for us to be a representative republic, where the people's representatives in Congress elected a president, similar to how Congress elects their own Speaker of the House. This was actually in Madison's first draft of the Constitution. But the founders rightly worried about corruption and collusion in the nation's capital, so they abandoned the idea of Congress electing a president alone, and instead created a compromise to avoid the tyranny of the majority inherent to pure democracies, while allowing the sense of the people to be reflected in the new American government. Now, you might be wondering, if the founders were worried about corruption in Congress, why didn't they just set up a popular vote system to elect the president in the first place? That brings us to point number 2. History shows us that unfettered majorities in pure democracies tend towards tyranny. It's called the tyranny of the majority. As Madison wrote, and I quote, "In a pure democracy, a common passion or interest will, in almost every case, be felt by a majority of the whole. A communication and concert results from the form of government itself, and there's nothing to check the inducements to sacrifice the weaker party or an obnoxious individual. Hence, it is that such democracies have ever been spectacles of turbulence and contention, have ever been found incompatible with personal security or the rights of property, and have, in general, been as short in their lives as they have been violent in their deaths," end quote. John Adams also wrote, and I quote, "Democracy never lasts long. It soon wastes, exhausts, and murders itself. There never was a democracy yet that did not commit suicide," end quote. In fact, I challenge you to try to name one pure democracy that relies on pure popular vote that's lasted longer without collapsing than the United States. You can't, because there isn't one. And that brings us to point number 3. The Electoral College system protects the rights and interests of minority states from being ruled by the tyranny of majority population states. In other words, people in the Midwest don't want to be ruled by the elitist coastal classes in New York City and Los Angeles. Makes sense. So our system of federalism, the idea that each state has sovereignty and fights for their own interests, and chooses electors to elect a president to represent their interests, protects these minority states from otherwise being ignored or trampled. Funny how liberals like Kamala Harris and even Joe Biden, when they trash the Electoral College and call to abolish it, they ignore the reason why we have the Electoral College in the first place: to promote federalism in order to protect minority voices in minority states, to prevent chaos and the tyranny of the majority, to avoid a pure democracy with a notoriously short lifespan, and to protect against corruption and collusion in the swamp of Congress if Congress were to pick a president themselves. Since the left won't tell you the facts and the truth about the Electoral College system, I will.